Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our talk today. I'm going to be leading our panel with these awesome folks. We've got Jane and Scott and Riley here. And we're going to talk about how to build meaningful communities in NFT marketing. I'm Marylee Burman. I work at Google on Web3 startup programs. I'm also a photographer in the NFT space. And I'm super excited to host these folks. So why don't we start by with Jane. We'll just do a quick intro of who you are and what you're working on in the Web3 space.
Yeah, hi everyone, my name is Jane. I run a Web3 marketing agency called Dart Studio. So we specialize in social media, community building, Discord, and yeah, all of that.
Sweet. Riley, that's loud. We have a licensed exchange in Australia as well as 25 devs that we work on a lot of cool innovative tech with, specifically in AI at the moment. We have a large metaverse with 40,000 people and a launchpad at Moon Landing Media. So we do a lot of stuff.
Hi everyone, I'm Scott Full Music. I'm a biz dev. I do strategic alliance and community insight for companies that you've heard of, OpenSea, Supercute, Den & Fields. Come from the music industry, but yeah, just building in Web3 and happy to be here.
Cool. Yeah, great crowd. Let's talk about communities, and like maybe we can start with you, Jane. Like, what do you think about why is community building so important to you in Web3 or into the space?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to the Web3 space, it's not just about like marketing to one individual person. It's like, how do you develop, a community around the project? How does the project make you feel? How does it like enable and enhance connections? And I think that's why I became so interested in this space, because you develop these like meaningful connections with all these different people that live in different areas that have, the same interests in you. So yeah, I'll start with that and throw it on.
One of the funniest things about community in Web3 that I found coming from Web 2 into Web 3 is how much people rely on the community and how much they kind of wait for everyone else to jump before they jump. So from like a marketing launch technical standpoint, the sheeple effect is very real. So I think I love, it's very interesting, this kind of, the community compounds on itself and it builds on itself and everyone starts to kind of look at what everyone else is doing and then they jump and then you really get this powerful kind of force that can launch lots of projects and lots of cool utilities and lots of cool side projects and other collections. And it seems to do that more in Web3 than any other industry or anything I've ever seen before. So community, right?
Yeah, I think a missing part for the community is collaboration. I think a lot of communities get stuck, in the echo chamber of their own. And Web3, you could team up with another project. You could team up with another protocol. You could do a partnership. Obviously, you could do these things in Web 2, but they're just not as, unless you're a big brand, people don't really want to collab. And yeah, I just really think that part of building in Web 3 is like very special. And that's why I like to, be here every day and do the Twitter spaces and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's super true. And like thinking about like communities in terms of like with Web3, you're building your communities online and you're building it in a way that's like almost like very bespoke and in like in places like this, like, we're building community right now in this room. Like there's a ton of different panels, there's a lot of speakers, like, but you're here in this room today. And maybe we'll build like one connection out of that, and like those types of connections are so meaningful, especially in a space that's like pretty small. So again, thank you for being here. I know you could choose other things, and you're here, so we love that.
And I'll say this again: the connections that I don't have to tell anyone in here. The Web3 connections that you get, like they're from verticals and buckets that you would never be able to touch with, like your agency, what you're doing. I'm in music, so like just not even the collab, just the connections. You can't do that in any other industry, any other web, any other thing. So I think whether it's Twitter Spaces, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's what we're doing now, everyone that's doing different, putting brains together, it's almost like Voltron all coming together.
Yeah, and I think what's super interesting as well about this space is like a lot of the connections we do are online, and then they're also in person. So you kind of have this ecosystem where, you know, it's like you meet someone one day and then you'll like reconnect with them online, and then you'll wait till the next conference when you see them again. So it's this really cool community that kind of goes past the like physical world.
That's true. I think that's like actually a really good segue into my next question is like thinking about the differences between Web 2 and Web 3 marketing. Like, are there specific nuances that you've noticed like working in both that you think is like stands out a lot with Web 3? I know that like the community here is strong and like events like this are way more fun for me personally than like some Web 2 conference because Web 3 people know how to party. Yeah. But like anybody can speak up, maybe Riley on this one first.
So back in Web 2 years ago, I built a company that it's more gym members. We created a process of launching gyms. We ended up launching 2,500 gyms across 9 different countries. Right, 2,500 gyms, and we really dialed in this process of launching physical gyms. So then bringing that into Web 3, and now we launch shitloads of NFT projects. There are some differences, right? There's definitely differences. Like I was saying before, everyone seems to jump when everyone else jumps, which is very interesting, trying to create that kind of psychological persuasion and getting people to join a project. But like there's really big differences. I love the collaboration side of Web3. Like I think coming from Web 2, everyone's kind of like, you know, are you a competitor? I'm not really going to share my shit because I've got better stuff than you or whatever. That was the Web 2 mentality. Whereas Web 3, everyone's like, what are you doing? All right, how can we integrate? How can we collab? How can we API or something? Like, how can we do a Twitter space? And that was really interesting coming into the space. It's really good to see. I love that. And it's just this big, massive network effect, just like blockchain is, right? It's massive nodes everywhere, all over the place. It's the same with different projects and communities grouping together.
Yeah, I, like yourself, if anyone knows the toy company Funko, I built their community from scratch without a Discord and without social media, so it was kind of interesting. It's literally, it's just Web 2 with a pivot for community, but I feel like, you know, the thing that people miss out on is people just want to be a part of something. They want to be part of something cool. They want to be, you know, something that they're not a part of, and there's, you know, there's this, you know, interconnection with the other person who loves the same thing that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. My background is actually in TV. I used to work at NBC and then back at an agency doing social for all different NBC and USA Network TV shows. And very similar concept. Like, we'd be growing the following, but it would be very rare that you'd actually get access to talent and like to talk to people that are part of the show. But I think what's really unique about Web3 is like a lot of the times the founders of the projects are in the Discord. You're talking to them every day. Like, and then I think what's also unique about it is like these kind of like super fans are also like leading the community, and a lot of times you'll see people that are just community members creating their own events and hosting things and starting spaces, and there's kind of like, you know, a community within the community that are just fans of the project.
Yeah, I love that. This is a little bit of a pivot, but I'm curious, like we've talked a little bit about like different tools that we use for Web3, like Discord and Spaces and Twitter, maybe some Instagram. Is there like any particular like platform or tool that you've found has been the most useful?
You already know what I'm gonna say. Twitter Spaces. Yeah, it's just, I didn't know our Twitter Space was gonna go crazy like that. It's just showing up every day, and each person, like in this room right now, you know, a new person comes every day, new person comes in every day, and all of a sudden you have 40,000 unique listeners coming to a Twitter Space about Web3 a month, which is like, I couldn't even try if to do that on my podcast if I had, you know, $100,000 marketing budget. So for me, it's definitely Twitter Spaces. It's just the best way to communicate, best way to kind of find out who's really building in the space, you know, who's BSing, you know, can kind of lie, but social audio is going to tell the truth about you at some point.
We use Alphabot heavily. So we found about 6 months ago that a lot of projects started to pivot towards a tool called Alphabot. You may not be familiar with it, but a lot of alpha groups use it, which are like sold out projects, a lot of like Azukis, Bored Apes, Mutant Apes. These groups of alpha buyers or investors, they use Alphabot. So we really started to build out a strong Alphabot team and just collab managers, and we have 6 full-time collab managers that just build connections in Web3. And then using Alphabot and getting to know the Alphabot team and the team behind it so they can kind of push some things through for us and give some extra notifications and whatnot. But basically, it just handles the whitelisting process for NFTs. So we end up getting like 10,000 people whitelisted through Alphabot when we do all these collabs. So that's been very handy. And then as well, our AI projects that we're working on where we're building out various utilities and kind of making NFTs AI enabled. So you can trade the NFT and you can trade with it the AI utilities, which I can talk more about later.
Yeah, I'll speak on that as well. I mean, for us, like especially in the gaming space, like I work with Mythical Games, Discord has been really huge, but I think that's sort of transitioning as well, and like projects are moving into Telegram, and I think even projects are actually going more towards like the Web 2 side, and even, you know, targeting people on Instagram as it gets easier to, like you don't necessarily need a wallet, so it's kind of like sort of regressing as it like opens up to people that are not just in like deep in Web 3.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point to think about the different nuances there are with like different types of like gaming might be more on Discord, and like there's different communities you would get on Spaces, or like I know a lot of us started out in Clubhouse, and then some of these more like specific business tools. So it's nice to think about the uniqueness of each. So this next question is something that I've been really fascinated with, and I know Riley, you're really into this stuff too. Is like thinking about like, how does Web3, how do we think about AI integration in Web3, and like what does that look like? How do you imagine that like playing out in the next like 6 months?
So one of the things that we identified earlier was that there is a massive bull run of AI developers coming through, and a lot of like kind of Web 2 and Web 3 devs starting to learn AI and how they can integrate with AI and how they can use it. And there's a lot of very cool tools coming out. So what we're building is like a marketplace to be able to create these AI tools and then plug them into various things, kind of like a Zapier for AI. And then you can plug these into NFTs, and you can sell the NFTs that have specific functionality. So if I create this really cool AI that can do something really awesome and valuable, I can sell it to you as an NFT, right? Or I can make your NFTs AI enabled through whatever functionality that is as far as you can imagine, whatever you can imagine, you can build it with AI. So it's crazy there. But just in like day-to-day stuff, like we used to spend 4 weeks and a few $1,000s just building out a collection of NFTs. Now we can do it with $50 in 1 day, just mid-journey. There you go, there's your collection. So that's been a big way we've used it for the art side of things. And then also like creating new concepts of art. So using Midjourney and just figuring out what is the style of art we're going for and trying in the different prompts is a very easy way that we're using it. And it's a good way for other projects to just spit out side collections. So if you're trying to do like a free mint or something, which we definitely do a lot of free mints just to build up community and give away free stuff, you can create a collection very quickly using Midjourney, right? And it costs basically nothing, and people have a high perceived value of it.
I think the tool side is pretty crazy too, like what you're saying, Riley. Since we were talking about Discord, there's actually AI bots that act as your community manager. I'm sure you've seen that. It's pretty crazy. So it's not that it's going to replace your community manager. It's just that, you know, sometimes it's 2 in the morning and it's a new member. They just want to ask a basic question, and you don't have to be, hey, where's the CM at? Yeah. You know, you just type in, and the AI, you know, that's connected to your Discord will answer, this is the website, this is our roadmap, this is, you know, so it's just going to make things a lot easier, and I'm really, if anyone comes to my Twitter spaces, you guys know I love AI, and I'm obsessed with it, so I love the question. I'm excited to see where it goes, and yeah, I didn't know a lot of the stuff that Riley was talking about as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm interested to see how it plays out, and like I love all these different advantages and way you could do it, but I think we also need to be careful in the age of AI too, because how quickly someone could create a project and build all this hype around it. So I think it will, I don't know, it's gonna create a lot of layers of good and chaos, and I'm just excited to see how it plays out.
It already kind of is. Like,
Yeah.
I think there was a good touch point that you had, Scott, on it. Like, AI is enhancing things that we're already doing, and I think a lot of people are worried that AI is going to take our jobs, or that things are going to be replaced. But I think it's going to be something more like developers that know how to like use these tools, or artists that know how to leverage these tools are going to be like accentuated by that or enhanced.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's going to do something where it's like a, you know, it's an amplifier for folks rather than like something that's going to replace, because it can't do the same
even
thing.
for for marketing, like, or consulting, I can tell, even if we just want to use old ChatGPT, I can be like, act as if you are a graduate from Harvard Business School, top of the class marketing agent, and then I ask. Like, now I don't have, people won't have to pay somebody $100,000 to get a question out. I could literally just jump on there and act as if. And, you know, I feel like it's just gonna make budgets, you know, go a lot further. And, you know, I'm just thinking of it on the marketing side. And yeah, maybe more cooler stuff gets built because of that.
Yeah, well, just to kind of go off of that, like I've been reading a lot too about like how AI is actually getting stuff wrong, which is crazy. Like they're pulling from databases and like they're creating these fake stories. So like from a marketing perspective, I'm like, wow, this is an amazing tool. Like we could jam out all these posts, but unless you have someone really checking the information. So like that's kind of how I think our roles are gonna shift, in the sense that maybe we won't be the main writers, but we have to be the main like editors, fact checkers, and that's gonna be our like responsibility as humans.
Yeah, we could tangent on this like all day, but the last thought on that is just like also to that point is that it's been, it's not exactly like diversified either. There's a lot of like inclusion and stuff that needs to happen with it, where I think there was a use case where someone was asking one of the AI things like, well, how would you describe yourself? And they basically described themselves as like a Nordic white male. And so there's like a lot behind that as well that could be troublesome. But anyway, tangent. So like, why don't we think about like what are some of the like top projects you feel in the space right now are doing a really great job with community building? That was a sideball question that wasn't in our lists.
Well, I could speak on something like, I'm just like really obsessed with what G Money's building and his 9DCC project. Like I was there early at the treasure hunt the other day and I got my hat, and I just love the way that like not only are you like collecting something from being at the event, the way that they have like the NTC chips in the merch, so that way like you're going around and like tapping other people, and then like that's building like the in real life community. So I was just like, from a marketing perspective, I was like, they're doing it right, this community's super cool. And yeah.
I like how he finally like undoxed himself too on Instagram. He like started showing his face.
Yeah, and
cool.
he's been everywhere. And he's super approachable. Yeah, super cool guy.
I'm going to, I just wanted to think hard about it. I'm going to give my love to Kid Called Beast.
Oh, nice.
Their event yesterday was the best event of the week. It wasn't even close. The love, like they just rolled the red carpet out, and their community wants people from the music business. They want people from these different verticals, you know, to join in. To see how they do that together in 8 days is very impressive as a community. And then they're also partnered with Alpha Club Pro, which, don't want to go on a tangent about that. I think it's very important if you're building a Web3 to be able to lean on your Web2 connections. And then I'm going to give the GOAT to Pudgy Penguins and Luca.
Pudgy Penguins.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. You know, Luca he's you know, another guy who's stamped in Web2 already, came here and did great things. And I think Pudgy, with their IP company and everything else they're doing, they're going to be around for decades.
Pudgy was the one I had picked as well, so it's interesting you said that. I was
Double
thinking,
up for Pudgy.
Me and Luca have the same advisor, so how could I not?
right? Yeah, no, Pudgy, they do a very good job with their IP. One that I think has been very interesting with Bored Ape and Mutant Ape is that their community is very community led by the community. It's not necessarily the internal team leading that community. It's a lot of the community projects coming out of that and the community events coming out of that, led by members of the community. So that one's been really interesting to see it compounding on itself.
Yeah, I think I really like what Rug Radio does too, like how they did a lot of the tokenomics behind their rugs, and like they started with the radio shows, and then the more you acquire like Rug DAO tokens and stuff, you can start to be part of like their community of speakers and do those spaces and stuff like that. And they always have like pretty interesting topics, so that was one that I invested in that I liked.
Shout out Farouk.
Farouk.
Brother.
Not for keeping me out till 3 in the morning though. Okay, so what advice would you give folks? I think we'll make this our last question. So anybody that's new to Web3 or like wanting to join the space, like what is the number one bit of gold that you would give somebody? Anyone can jump in who's ready.
I would start with a free mint. That's my advice, right? You can pump out a free mint very easy. Like I said, do all the art with AI. Downstairs at the booths, there's a number of projects out there that'll allow you to launch a minting contract within like 10 minutes. So do AI-generated art, spit it into a minting contract that costs you basically nothing, and then you've got this perceived high-value NFT that you can give away for free, and just do a lot of collabs. Like we'll go through with that strategy. That's like the number one thing we start with is, okay, how can we create a free mint that's cool, that people are going to want, and then we can just use that as the lead magnet to get the initial community members in and launch that, and then you've got whatever 1,000 holders that are somewhat bought into the project because they had to spend their time and gas fees, and then you can sell them the real mint that you want to sell.
Completely agree with that. And one other thing I'd say is talk to your audience. And if you want to be the founder of a project, you need to be like incredibly approachable. You need to be on Twitter like 24/7, actually talking to people, and sort of like seeing what they're interested in, what they care about, and like once again back to the basics, like actually building a community around the project. Because when there's like so much noise out there, people are going to want to feel like they're a part of someone. People are going to want to feel like they're listened to, and I think that makes the biggest difference between a successful and unsuccessful project.
I'm just gonna say, do what what makes you happy. You don't have to be a founder. You don't have to be a master trader like Wizard of Soho. There's a million other things to do in Web3, whether it be a Twitter space host, whether a community manager, and don't compare yourself to anybody in the space. Keep your blinders, up and do your thing, and don't let anyone else that's maybe came here 2 years before you. Don't I always see people get frustrated so much further than somebody else in Web3, and that's a Web 1, Web 2 thing, like celebrate the next woman, the next man's win, and treat everyone like an open door. And yeah, there's no secret sauce to Web3, just show up every day.
Yeah, I think +1 to that, I think like taking your time and like building an audience and building connections with people and trust is super important in Web3.
That's the most important for sure.
Yeah, they want to know that if they're going to invest in you, like your token in this world, that you're somebody that's going to stick around and that is trustworthy. And a lot of like my personal strategy has been to like uplift other people.
Yes.
And like constantly just like share their work or like almost like promote them more than myself, because when it becomes my turn, then those people come back and pay it forward.
It comes back around. And
Yeah.
like every person from Twitter Space 2 years ago, before I had this one, hey, I'm working on this now. I'm working on this now. Or, hey, can you be a consultant for this thing? And it's an ebb and flow that keeps coming.
Right. Well, we're almost out of time. Is there where can we see your spaces?
Web3 Exposed is every day from 12:30 to 4:30 Pacific time.
On Twitter.
Monday through Friday, yeah.
You catch me there, Riley James, on Twitter and LinkedIn. You'll find me if you search, or Instagram.
Yeah, my Instagram is Jane V. Herman. My Twitter is Meta Empress, and the name of my company is Dart Studio if you're looking for marketing support.
Cool. And I'm just Marylee Burman, fully doxed. Thank you all again. I know you could be anywhere right now and you chose to be here, so we appreciate that and hope you enjoy.
Can you guys talk for like 5 more minutes? Do you have time to talk for
Sure.
5 more minutes?
Easy.
Sure.
Maybe take some questions, whatever you guys want to do.
All right, we can do that. Anybody want to?
I have a question.
All right.
So Riley definitely gave a great overview of how to build a community with a free mint. Is that a meaningful community then?
It's more meaningful than having nothing at the start, right? So a lot of projects that come out like, I'm minting 3,000 paid NFTs for whatever 0.6 ETH in 2 weeks, and it's like, fuck, dude, you got like 50 followers. Like, how are you gonna do this? It's just impossible. So sure, there might be some people that came in just because they wanted a free mint and then they piss off, but it's just about getting those incremental percentage gains of ever expanding community. And I use it all the time. I do free mints. We do like 2 a week. So we do shitloads. So some are meaningful, some aren't, but it's the same with people that buy the NFTs. Some of them are gonna just flip it immediately and go away, and they're not necessarily meaningful. So there's no difference really. I think leading with value first is just a good approach. A lot of Web 2 businesses, they give away free gifts at the start, or they give away vouchers, or it's something that's been working for hundreds of years, so why not?
I have a very important question. that I'm hoping that everyone can answer. Where are you gonna get dinner tonight?
I don't know. I'm like, I've lost like 10 pounds in this last week. Like, Degens don't eat dinner. I don't know why.
Decision fatigue today.
Yeah, when I go home to the Bay Area tomorrow, I'm gonna eat so fat. These
We're gonna go to
my
Papalote.
raccoon eyes and my 10-pound loss need to go away.
I have the opposite problem.
So I discovered this place, 7th Street Burger. I've never been to New York, but I found 7th Street Burger, and holy shit! If you want McDonald's done well, it's 7th Street Burger. Plug.
Oh God, I'm gonna just be running around to events, like same thing.
Gonna have a
week,
sandwich.
There's no time to eat, like so many good people to meet, and yeah, next week.
I'll give a quick plug for Empanada Mama,
Oh, that place is good.
Chinatown.
I know.
Cool. So what are you looking forward to, like, for the rest of the conference? I know today's the last day of the conference, but if you're staying for the weekend at all, is there any standout events, anything that you felt like was a highlight of NFT NYC?
Yeah, I really, I know I said it earlier, I just really enjoyed the Kid Called Beast event. It's one thing when you're like a holder of a project, and I just like to go to places where everybody, it's like Cheers the bar. Like, so sorry if there's anyone young in here, but everybody knows your name. And you know, I want to go where the love is pure and the vibes are high. Don't get me wrong, I love to rage and all that too, but yeah, I just, you know, when I come to these events, I want to be around the loved ones.
Yeah, agreed.
Still going?
All right, thanks all.
Thanks, and thank you so much, Marylee, for being our amazing moderator here.